How's it going, everybody? I thought I would start off this particular video with something fun. I think I've shown this before when I've done tours of my office space, but this is my official White Ranger helmet. It is a Hasbro Lightning Collection 1-to-1 ratio. I love this thing. I picked this up from my local comic shop, and I've got it. I've got a couple of other helmets, and I apologize about my office space being a mess. It's in the middle of transition, so things are going a little crazy here. But hey, everybody, welcome to the first official live stream of Season 7 of The Right Way. This is really, really exciting. I'm just super stoked. And so a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. Mainly the topic of this particular live stream is we are talking about writing challenges. And so as far as the challenges that I've been working on, I've got a couple of really cool stuff that I've got going on. But before I jump into any of that, I just wanted to share with you a few things. So first and foremost, if you are in the process or you're in the mood to do so, I want to let you know that you guys are capable of becoming subscribers on Patreon. And so let me just kind of share this with you. This is my Patreon site. And there are 3 tiers that you can. Why is this popping up? Remind me later. All right, there are a few tiers that you can select from. I don't have any collections or anything like that, but I've got some really cool stuff here. As far as my tiers are concerned, there is the Scribbler, the Wordsmith, and the Novelist. The Scribbler, $1 a month. It gets you access to the unedited, uncut versions of my interviews. The Wordsmith tier gets you access to the early release of the Creators Corner segments before they go live on YouTube. And then there is the Novelist tier, and the Novelist tier gets both of those first 2 perks, plus you get access to another series that I'm doing here, which is called Finding Fiction. And so I'll kind of just give you guys a little look-see of what's going on. So as of today, as of this morning, my conversation with Calvin Ellis, which is my very first interview for Season 7, that is dropped live this morning at 9 a.m. As of an hour ago, my Creators Corner segment featuring HR Darling, Winifred Summer, that dropped today as well. And then at the beginning of the month, my Finding Fiction episode 1 is live. It's been live since October 5th, and I cover Alien Romulus. So if you've been following me on social media for any length of time, you'll see that. So yeah. So with regards to that content, you're able to become a Patreon member for as little as $1 a month, and you in all levels get that access to the unedited interviews. And so yeah, so we're talking writing challenges. I'm actually in the midst of one right now, but I've been doing several over the course of the last few months. One of them that I've been doing, and I'll share this with you, is called NYC Midnight. All right, NYC Midnight is the current. This is one of the current things that I've been working on. I just signed up for another challenge. It is another microfiction challenge on November 8th, 250 words. I did a short story challenge earlier this year during the summer. It was 500 word. Didn't make it past the first round, but people did like what I had to write. And that's okay. That's cool. That story is going to be going into an anthology that I'm working on. That anthology is called, well, I'll talk more about that towards the end. But so I've got the November 8th. That's Friday, November 8th, the 250 word microfiction challenge coming up. I've been doing a number of these, and the thing I really like about these particular challenges is that I get the opportunity to work through writing challenges that have me writing outside of my regular genre. I'm not just sticking with fantasy or anything like that. I'm actually developing my skills with like romantic comedy and horror and thriller and stuff like that. And so it's pushing me outside of my comfort zone as far as the literature that I'm used to writing. The other thing that I like about it is it forces me to really consider what kind of word choices I work on and what I use when I'm writing my stories. Because what I will end up doing, especially with like the 250 and 500 word challenges, I will actually write more than the required word count, and then I will go back through and I will look at words and phrases and trim it down to get it within that word count. Now, with the 500 word stories, NYC Midnight's pretty flexible. It can be under 500, but no more than that. Although I think they offer like a little bit of leeway. With the 250 word microfiction challenge, that one is incredibly specific. I cannot go below 250 and I cannot go above it. And what's interesting is I like to use dashes in my writing to separate phrases instead of just throwing out commas left and right like I'm Charles Dickens. And unfortunately, the way that NYC Midnight checks their word count, those dashes actually get included as actual words. So I have to go back through and I remove those dashes and I replace them with commas. So that's just one of the things that I've had to be working with. And I've really enjoyed going through NYC Midnight. In fact, I've been participating in their short story writing challenges and their microfiction challenges for probably about 2 years now, a little over. So I'm really excited to see how this one plays out in November, which is funny because I'm actually in the midst of another one that I'm working on right now. It's a 90-day novel challenge put out by Autocrit. And I signed up for this one thinking, first of all, it was free. And thinking, okay, yeah, it's 90 days. I can totally knock something like that out. And I've been working. I'm halfway through the month of October. This thing started on September 30th or October 1st. I'm not really sure. It's kind of been dodgy as far as the actual official start date. But I've been working, and I'm currently, the project I'm working on, it's currently codenamed Charlie. The last I worked on it was yesterday afternoon, but the word count on that one is somewhere around 8,000 to 9,000 words. And I haven't, like, it's going well, but I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and really just give it the writing I need, give it the time that I need. In fact, like last night I got home and after work and everything, and all I wanted to do was veg out and watch TV instead of sit down to write. But I'm going to be doing a lot of writing today. So that's definitely going to be in the works. The other writing challenge that I've been getting into is Writer's Playground. And this one is a newer one to me. My mom actually introduced me to this particular program, and I've heard of Writer's Playground before, but I've never really signed up. And I signed up for this one. It kicked off on August 1st. It was a 10-day thing, and the goal was to write a short story. And you had, I think they gave you like 3,000 words with an overage of about maybe 1 to 150. I can't remember exactly, but the story that I put in here, I wrote it in just a few days. I was really proud of it. I worked through a lot of edits on it, but it was like about 2,800 words. And this particular story was something that, so not only did my mom give me the idea to do this particular challenge, she actually linked it to me on Facebook. She actually gave me the idea for some of the elements in the story, because the way that Writer's Playground works is that instead of just giving you a genre and a word count and like a word that you have to use and some action, what Writer's Playground does, it's very open-ended. They give you the word count. There is an action that must take place in the story, but then they give you a list of characters and a list of settings that you can play with, and you can mix and match. You can use one from each category. I was very curious about this, so I emailed them and I said, "Hey, can I combine characters? Can I combine settings?" And they're like, "Absolutely, so long as you have at least one character and one setting from the list that we've provided." And so that's what I did, and it worked out really well. It's the story is based on folklore. There's some horror elements to it. There is some historical elements to the fiction. And so I really had fun with the development of the story, of the narration of the character. And this is one of those stories where I wrote from a first person perspective. I don't do that all that often. And so I figured this would be a great opportunity to do something along those lines. So I'm waiting for November for this to drop. I'm really excited. And while it's not a challenge, I mentioned this in the there's going to be something dropped about this in the episode next week when it goes live on YouTube. But the episode is going to mention a story that I have submitted to Collective Tales Publishing. If you haven't followed Collective Tales Publishing, CTP is a publisher, and they publish anthologies, different genres and stuff like that. Every year they do one or two different anthologies, and they're based out of the Salt Lake City area in Utah. And I got connected with them a few years ago, and it was just a great opportunity. I've had both Elizabeth Suggs and Jonathan Reddick, who are the people heading up CTP. I've had them on the show in the past, either doing interviews or providing book recommendations, stuff like that. And then a couple of years ago, they put out a call for dystopian or cosmic horror, and I wrote a story that had been circulating. Some of the ideas had been circulating in my mind, but like I was in this mode where I was listening to a lot of Mumford & Sons, specifically their 2015 album Wilder Mind, and I love that album. It's such a great such great musical landscape. And so I wrote specifically to that album. I just had it on loop, and different songs are referenced either I have references to lyrics, or I have references to the titles of the songs, stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun to do that. And so the story falls into cosmic horror. There's something very Lovecraftian about it. And next Saturday, I believe, is when that book, that anthology drops, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with people because my story's in there. Now they did a heavy edit on it. They cut some things out to kind of streamline the story, and it reads well enough. However, I would prefer to release the full version of the story because I think that full version gives a lot more context and color to what takes place in the story instead of just jumping right into the more macabre stuff. There's a little bit more buildup. But that's my preferences. That's my how I'm dealing with it. So yeah, those are the writing challenges that I've been working through and working on. And so I have really wanted to get myself out there more and more, trying to really push myself, really trying to challenge myself. And that has been super helpful for me because it's allowed me to grow as a writer. It's allowed me to do more. And even when I haven't been actively working on my fantasy series, it's given me projects to work on to keep my skills going. And so if you haven't participated in any kind of writing challenge or competition like that, I heavily recommend doing so because I think it will help push you outside of your comfort zone. It'll help challenge you to do more with your writing. And I think it's beneficial because who knows what can come of it. Maybe you write a 250 word short story that people absolutely resonate with, and it helps you become a popular author. Or maybe you write a short story that goes into an anthology and someone picks up that anthology and it inspires them to write and read and whatever. So I do highly recommend that. I did want to share a couple of things coming up over the course of the next few weeks. First and foremost, next week is the full October episode. It's going to feature a great author interview with Calvin Ellis. As I mentioned, the uncut, unedited version of that interview is on Patreon now, and you can find links for that site in the video description. You can or you can wait until the episode goes live. He is a great author. In fact, I just finished reading his newest book, In the Grave Where the Bones Are Still Wet, and that actually is going to be my my episode on Finding Fiction, episode 2 for November, which that drops on Saturday, November 2nd. At trying to see when it's scheduled for, but I believe it's going to be around 9 p.m. that night. So you'll be able to see that. So if you become a subscriber on Patreon, $5, that gives you access to those videos, and eventually those videos will show up on my YouTube channel. I'm just not sure when. But then it also has Winifred Summer, who's providing her creative writing tips. She's an awesome friend of the channel. She's been on doing interviews, providing top 10 book recommendations. She's just absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, I do have a top 10 list provided by S.M. Warlow, who's a sci-fi space opera author from the UK, and he was awesome enough to provide his top 10 book recommendations. So great new episode coming out. That'll launch next Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, if you do want to support the channel, obviously I've mentioned Patreon a couple of times, but there's another way that you can go about doing that, and that is through Teespring. I offer a bunch of different merch on there, mostly shirts and stuff like that. But I've got, if you're interested in supporting me as an author, you can get a book quartet shirt. I have it both in men's and ladies. And then the quartet mug, which is mostly a black background with the image of the books. I have this new collection called Mitch the Mentor. there's a mug, there's a picture of Mitch the mentor on there. If you haven't seen those videos from season 4, check them out. The Creators Corner segment on, and if you just want to find the playlist on there, you can find it. It's the hero's journey. So Mitch the mentor is a reference from that. That's a new line right there. I have these Guardian of the Heavens pendants. I've got stickers. I've got a pennant with digital art of characters from my books. I have the Goddess collection, which comes in a pennant, women's racerback tank, women's classic tee or a mug. There's Right Way merch right here, t-shirt, one size fits all, and mug. And then I've got my Push My Buttons collection, which includes a mug, ladies t-shirt, and a men's t-shirt. And then we've got phone cases and a hoodie for the books. Wanting to help support the channel, Patreon, Teespring, those links are down in the video description. Always becoming a subscriber and clicking the bell for notifications on new videos is a great way to do that. As it is, I'm going to keep this short, sweet, and to the point. The next live stream will actually be on November 2nd. I will be broadcasting from the Hanford Library. I'll be doing another writing workshop. So that live stream will actually be both an episode for the season as well as a writing workshop. We'll be talking about forming fantasy and how to write fantasy fiction. So until then, I'll catch you on the flip side.